Hi all. Today is the 22nd September. Wow. Time to really fly. And the mouse here will be over soon. Mouse here. Wonder how John is. Water. Cutting the grass. Go get my bread. floats on watching all you can eat Vietnamese food in Vietnam. A buffet. Do I like my short hair? Or do I think, it's okay? Or did I prefer my long hair? Long hair always looks so good, but the fact it's COVID, while short hair has its merit too, since I decided stay in the garage. It would be more convenient for me. To have short hair, feel less. Try to get 2 thread in one hoe. So it's harder. But I did it. Yay. Long hair. Long hair always looks pretty. Especially if you take care of it. Not very feminine. Short hair. Short hair is for convenience. No fuss. Easy to care for. Long hair is I think it's for like younger too. Short hair. I lost it again. Yay. Either hair. Longer make a person more gentle. Short hair. Conveniences. Yeah, you don't want long hair in a guy. Does it make them look feminine? Yeah, You don't want feminine on a guy. You know, when I talk about long hair, I'm talking to the butt. I'm not talking about to the chin. That's not long hair. To the chin is short hair. So one done. So if you have hair to the chin, like moi, that's considered short. Long pertain to my hair. Oh, it's so long. It's very sexy. That's one thing about long hair. It's like a river that flows. You know, you can keep it and comb it. And you know, you have to have the right haircut to layer or something. It's good to have long hair when you're young. Because, you know, you have time to maintain it, know how to take care. You know, hygiene, because you need a shower to wash it. So, teach you how to take care of yourself. Can't really keep I did it. I think as you grow older, it's easier to keep short hair. Because, you know, oops. Because, you know, you don't want to attract you want a peaceful life. You don't want to attract too many unnecessary attention. Yeah, because as you grow older, people tends to have partners or complicated relationship. Yeah, you don't want to you grow older, symbol is hard to find. Most people have a history already, like myself, you know. No, if it's not family issues. Which is a big issue, because the parents are getting older. You have to take care of them. The kids, they get older. You want to be in their lives because you don't want to lose out in that. Because when you lose out, you know, just like Eminem said, my little nephew, he wrote in the yearbook, you got one chance, one shot. So, make it work. What a smart 17-year-old, or is he 18? He's gifted to see that far ahead, or to make a statement like that. Well, he was born artistic. Sister taken to the temple to meditate, to help him with his autism. We eat Asian, Vietnamese food. He goes to the temple, he eats vegetarian food. And my sister is vegetarian, but she had chicken for him. No red meat, though. No pork. Primarily chicken. But sometimes he would have egg rolls, because, you know, at parties or the non-vegetarian parties. The majority of time, it's at the temple, so it's vegetarian. For the longest time. Meditate, calm, his nurture. That happened to him. He was born in a society where the high expectation, the high, you know, unexpected autism is more likely in other countries due to newborn immunization. So you consistently get many sort of immunization at birth, at 3 months, at 6 months. Those vaccines on an infant to prevent polio, hepatitis. Supposedly, the aim is to prevent But who knows what side effects those vaccines have. And evidently, it shows statistically, or hearsay that statistically, that autism in America is far more likely gender-wise more in male than female. But there's different seriousness level of autism. His is on the gifted side. You know, like he can listen to a piano piece without any notes. He can play. He can play when he listens to music on the piano. So he recognized the keyboard, the sound. And so that human is adaptive. And where they adaptive, they tend to, that's one beautiful thing about the human brain. We don't use all of it. From research, it shows that the brain waves are active, not to its full capacity at 100%. It's only a 10% activity. Consider how big a brain is. And one thing history shows, and also brain activities of genius organ donor like Albert Einstein for his brain. Somehow his brain could be measured, even though he's dead, for activity like, I don't know how they do it, so I don't know how accurate. But he found that, consider his time, he's the genius of all humans, or one of the geniuses, since he created or theorized E is equal to mc squared. Energy, see how I'm walking, is equal to mass times the speed of light. Depend on how heavy I am and the speed. See how I'm walking? So equal to my energy. Smaller I am, my mass, mean I exert lesser energy. Whereas someone who, let's say 200 pounds in mass, will exert more energy through the speed they exert. So I'm going 0.5 mile. The double my size, 200 pounder, with going at 2 point speed, will exert more energy. And what is energy? Energy means work. What it means is pretend I'm not working on the treadmill, but I'm building the Great Wall of China. My mass, which is a 200-pound man, and the speed I work really fast. The energy I assert will be more than a 100-pound man whose speed is slower. So if the heavier man's speed is low, then he will exert less work. But if he increases his speed, he will double his work. Then the skinnier man, whose speed is slower. But if the skinnier man increase his speed at work, he will outdo the bigger man, like running in the Marines. The same concept. So basically, Einstein theorized E equals mc squared. However, the practitioner of that applied it to missiles. And the mass, which is the weight of the missile, and its speed that it's moved, will equals to the energy of the burst and knocked out an object. Scary, huh? That's how you come up with things like that. Get it? Very important, right? So autism is questionable. They have not pinpointed its roots. But like human, we are adaptive. And they measure the brainwave of Einstein, who was born during, before World War II. So they found out that 70 years later or 50 years later in the 21st century, or 20th century, because we're in the 21st now, but they found out in the 20th century after his death that they, the laboratory consistently monitor his brain and take out for research that his brain during his time considered to be that his mind is a genius mind to develop a theory like that at that time with other great discoverers. He wasn't the only one who thought of it. He has a group of colleagues who think the same way. He worked in Germany, and then during the war, he moved to Austria because he's Jewish. So, and then he moved to England, with his family because they were going to annihilate certain population, the Jewish World War II. So, given our history of 1945 to the contemporary history of 2020, at least 60 years later, 65, almost 70 years later, but before 70 years later, before 2020, they had measured his brain for scientific research, and they found that his brain during his time to be a brain of a genius man at that time. But measuring with the comparison of today, they discovered that humans change. His so-called brain of a genius mind doesn't even compare to a normal Jane or Joe like myself. So basically, they conclude or theorized that humans become more intelligent with time. And it shows. I mean, hello, back in World War II, when they have cell phone, when they have wire running phone, now we have satellite cell phone. That's just one backing that we grow more intelligent. So Einstein's brain at that time was a genius mind compared to my brain now. I'm smarter than Einstein. Hello? I know how to use a cell phone, but Einstein probably don't know, right? And for the development of a cell phone, let's just say one example of technology, the development, not the use, two different things. But the use itself, did not say that, how about say, Einstein's mind's not dumb. It has not been awakened. Because we all know that the brain function, synapses, is not at 100%. From research of live study, we found that the brain that we use on normal basis, it does not sparks all areas, frontal, temporal, every lobe, and it doesn't. It only uses 10%, meaning that it's lit up, it's spark, it's communicating. So Einstein's brain did not say that he is not as intelligent as the guy who created cell phone, or it's about it has not been awakened, nurtured. So if it's nurtured in this century, his brain, if he was to have a lifespan till now, imagine what he could theorize with, with time. But human beings, we die. But others pick up, there are other brains that pick up, or other individuals. Einstein died, a new developer of different time, different era, more contemporary, developed. So, in that sense, it's important to recognize that human are dynamic. And that's the thing about human beings that's different from other species, plant, animal, is that our ability to adapt. And we recognize this through primitive age. We recognize this through relocation. our ability to create environment that's not even our home. For example, we build attachment to where we live, but then we adapt when we have to move for political reason, for job, employment, for health issues, for familial, for our own survival instinct, we adapt. And that's the difference between us and other species. Well, actually, other species adapt too. They build a different sort of mechanism, just like they feel the different species exist, like fish, tigers, South American tigers, different than South Africa, different from India, different from Southeast Asia. A certain sort of coding is developed as the location is also different. And that shows too, can you imagine in, let's say Sweden, where the population is all blonde and blue eyes, because it's on a higher hemisphere, and history and science reason why that was necessary, that skin and hair was necessary for that particular climate, for that particular hemisphere, because it protects the human and to exist, to live for a certain age. And our human lifespan is 125, but only 5 people in this world live to that age. 1 from Japan, oldest woman, and 4 from Europe. So why is there certain complexion in certain region where human exists? And that's because the location and the climate change the person protective layer, which is skin and hair and eyes. So if I was born in some region, not necessarily mean that I will lose my complexion genetically rooted by millions of years of that species that change. Not necessary now. If I want to be blonde and blue eyes, I go to Sweden. No. That's not how genes work. Wistful thinking. However, if I, change my genetic endowment with mutation, like 2 different species, same species, and they do this with fish and other things, and cats and all sort of animals, they mix it up for different species. It does exist. And we see, children who are Amerasian, their parents can be white American, blonde hair, blue eyes, and the mom could be black hair, brown eyes, and Asian descent features, and you can mix. So humans are adaptive. living things are adaptive, not only animals but plants too. The same species of plant in different country, different climate over years, they mutate to survive. You know, coconut tree is not going to be needing a lot of heat and the right temperature for growth. It's not going to be visibly available in a cold, snowy climate, Seattle, right? But you will find it in the equator states like California. You see coconut plants. And then you see in Vietnam across the Pacific Ocean, or you see it in, you know, warmer climate countries. And then you see prune or in Iraq, you know. Okay, well, that's it for today. And let's talk more about the mind later on. When the need arise. Ciao, ciao.